Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to take you guys very quickly through the sketchbook that I just did a sketchbook tour in. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it so that you can go watch it. So what I'm going to do is flip through and show you guys some simple foliage doodles. Super simple, super easy. And I'm just going to use the inspiration from my older sketchbook to show you guys that drawing and doodling can be super simple, super easy. You don't have to create a masterpiece on each page. So over here, we're gonna go in a sketchbook and do exactly that. I've had this sketchbook for a while. I got it in an Art Snacks Plus box a few years ago, and I actually have only used the pages in the back. So I glued the little paper that came with it on the inside so I know what kind of paper it is. I've only used the few back pages and all the rest is blank and ready to be doodled. So let's get into it. So feel free to get out your sketchbook and follow along or save this for later. I'm going to be using a Faber-Castell brush pen. Now this particular brush pen, I really like it for doodles like this because the nib is extra flexible and it really just helps take the pressure off. Some people might get nervous about that, but for the purposes of this doodle, if you have something that has a softer brush tip, it will simply make it easier, but you just use what you have. So with the theme of keeping this super simple, I'm actually only going to use that brush pen and my favorite white gel pen, the Uniball Signo. Now you guys can buy this open stock at Michael's one at a time, or you can buy packs of these over on Amazon. So let's get loose, and remember, we're doing this for the process. It doesn't have to be a rendered masterpiece. It's just to get your creative juices flowing. So what we are going to do is a whole spread of different kinds of foliage. So over here, I am just doing some nice little ovals, and they end up kind of looking like hearts. Nothing has to be perfect, nothing has to be uniform. Plants are very forgiving to doodle because nothing is perfectly symmetrical. So as you guys see, I just did loop-de-loops, very wobbly, and they look kind of like hearts. So one of my plants is just going to be that kind of heart-shaped. Now because I like black and white and I'm just keeping it simple, I have no rhyme or reason. I'm just going to randomly fill out some of the leaves, make them black, and do something with them later. I'm keeping this super simple. If you guys are using color, feel free to do what you want. I am simply sharing ideas to show you guys how you can really unwind, get the stress out of your body, and relax. So you don't have to do it exactly like me. I am just sharing ideas. Now over here, I just did a whole bunch of little loop-de lines. So as you can see, I am doing my very best to not lift my brush pen too much, and I am just looping back and forth to make another plant. Now over here, I am simply doing some leaves. Again, I personally like to do continuous lines. I like the wobbliness and the organic effect of it. I realize this makes some people nervous, and it's something you need to practice to do, and you don't have to do it that way. It just really helps to loosen you up, to just go with the flow, especially if you struggle with perfectionism. So I want to switch things up and have a plant coming from the top down. All of my little plant ideas are super simple but different. You can choose to pick one motif and repeat it on the page, or do a whole bunch of random designs like I am doing. This is super simple. I am simply doing some oval little leaves. I am staggering them out and coloring them in black. This is so simple. You could probably do this with a child. But if I say that, don't think, oh, it's childish, it's babyish, I shouldn't be doing this. Especially if you're in a creative slump, it's the perfect time to do something where you're not putting too much structured thought into it. You're really just getting your brain going, and it really does help you to unwind, chill, and relax. So over here, I'm doing something similar. I'm doing a little cluster of leaves that again are similarly heart-shaped to the one on the right, but it's just a little cluster of it. These aren't based off anything real. It's just in the likeness of a plant. So you can do two little leaves to make it like a heart, or add a third, totally up to you. Now I want a nice little branch up at the top here. Stick, stick, ball. That's all you've got to do. Little sticks and then put a little ball over at the end. I am just going to add in a couple more leaves on this page, and then using the brush pen for this side of the sketchbook spread will be done. I'm almost done the page, and I will be adding in the white gel pen soon. I decided I was going to color in just a few more leaves because I really want this spread to have that nice black and white contrast. In reality, you could leave your spread just black and white and super simple, just like I've done. You don't have to add white. I'm just choosing to go a step further, but if you want to stop right here, go right ahead. But if you want to join me, you're welcome also. Starting with my little heart bush down here, I'm just going to do simple little heart outlines to add some dainty little contrast to this little bush. I love me some polka dots, and that's exactly what I'm doing on a few select leaves on my initial plant. I left in a nice little teachable moment here because I discovered a long time ago that the majority of markers or pens will cover gel pens. So I did a few whoopsies and I wasn't too fond of some of my polka dots. I just simply go right back in with my little brush pen and I'm able to hide it, and you're none the wiser. I know I say more is more, but sometimes less is more, and it still adds a nice pop. On to my little berry looking branch. I'm going to draw some little dashes in a circular motion, kind of like a little sunshine, the way we would draw them as a child. And I'm going to do that on all the little bulbs, and you see, super simple, and it really packs a little punch. The next plant, I decided to do some little scratchy filling in the leaves, and I like that little scratchy texture. Now I'm going to add some lines on my black branch, and the more lines that you add, the more of a pop there is. You can choose to stagger them out or do like me and do the entire branch. Play around and see what you end up liking. It's so fun to just test things out. All right, friends, so we are on to the next page. The next page is going to be a little bit more floral than foliage, but you really can't have one without the other. So I'm just going to do two simple flowers. One's going to be black and one's going to be white. I really enjoy doing the continuous line drawing, again, to get organic shapes for leaves and petals. Feel free to lift your marker or your pen at any point. There's no sketchbook police, and if there is, I have yet to meet them. So in the words of Bob Ross, there's no such thing as mistakes, just happy little accidents, and that's exactly what happened here. I wanted a dark flower and a light flower, and this inadvertently ended up being my dark flower, and I just decided to roll with my mistake. It was a happy little accident. So this gives me the chance to reshape any petals that I didn't like anyways. It really helps if you give yourself the mindset, okay, this isn't a mistake. How can I fix it? How can I learn from it? And just work with it. And it really just helps you come into a project way more relaxed. Don't take yourself too seriously. Again, it doesn't have to be a beautiful piece of artwork. It's just a beautiful sketchbook page, because a filled sketchbook page is a beautiful sketchbook page. I'm just adding some super simple leaves like I did for the branch on the other page, keeping it simple. Again, you don't have to do it exactly like me. I am sharing ideas, hoping to encourage and inspire you guys. So over here, I'm doing another continuous line flower. And the thing is flowers are wobbly and wonky. So the more wobbly you are, the better and more organic it's going to seem. So that's one of the reasons, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I really like a softer nib when doing this because it just makes the wobbliness and the flow so much more natural. So over here, I am doing kind of like more of a rose squiggle continuous line flower. And what's nice is they're very convincing and they're very fixable. So if you think you messed it up, super easy to fix. I'm going to revisit a similar idea to the page on the right, and I'm just going to slowly do a continuous line squiggly bulb plant. Again, it's in the likeness of foliage. I don't actually know of any plant that looks like this, but it fills up the space really nicely. I'm going to continue to fill up the page with little space that's left with some more flowers and foliage, again, just to give you guys an idea. If anything here has encouraged you or inspired you, or maybe if you drew along with me, just let me know down in the comments, and please consider liking my video, sharing it, and subscribing to my channel. Here we go, here we go. Here's the fun part, bringing in the white, the contrast, the scratchies, the squigglies. I absolutely love this part, and I'm always sad because I personally find it's over too fast. Remember my little tip from earlier, if you end up messing up, you can just simply go back with your brush pen and fix up and clean up your line. All right, now that I've added in another simple outline, I'm gonna go over to the next plant and do some little dash dots. So now that the dots are dashed, I'm going to be adding in some lines in various places in this piece. It's really hard to stop when you're doing spreads like this because you really get into a nice relaxed state and a creative flow. So what do I say? More is more. So on this side of the spread, I'm going to add in some little tropical scratchy lines. But again, I'm here to share ideas. So it gives me the opportunity just to share a little creative practice and give you guys an idea that I use sometimes. You could totally stop at this point, but because we are doing black and white, I will be whipping out my gel pen again and adding a little texture to these tropical spots. So over here, you're going to see me just doing kind of some dash style lines over across a few just to add contrast, dimension, and it just makes for a nice little visual interest to my little spread over here. Again, it's not necessary to do. I know I keep saying that, just sharing ideas. So now our sketchbook spread is full. They don't have to match. And again, you can take one motif and repeat it. You don't have to go as extra or as busy that I tend to go. Our personalities tend to be reflected a lot in the work that we do, and I'm a little bit extra. What can I say? I hope that this showed you guys that drawing is not scary and it can be easy and not as scary as it may seem. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye everyone.